Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome to the Amateur Otaku podcast. How is everybody doing out there? I am Brandon Alvarado, the Scarlet fan here, and I'm so excited to be back here tonight to talk anime with all you guys on the Amateur Otaku live stream. We have a lot of things going on this live stream. We got a couple of news that we want to discuss. We have the results of our latest manga poll, but more importantly, we're back talking Chainsaw Man, and we're back talking Bleach in this week in anime. Isaac, I'm excited to talk anime. Are you?
Yes, I am. If My Hero and Spy X Family is the PG-13 episode of this pod, then Chainsaw Man and Bleach is the R-rated one.
Yes, there's a lot of R's in power, and okay, that was bad. That was so bad. I should never try and do puns ever again. But apparently, it's just not gonna
Also,
stop.
what's up, Mike?
What is up? Watachi ga. I have no idea what that means. I'm not gonna say it in public. I feel I'm about to get shut down. But hey guys, welcome to the Amateur Otaku live stream. We're very excited to be back here tonight, another Sunday to talk awesome anime with y'all. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Click on that like button. Click on the bell for notifications so that you guys don't miss any streams here at the Amateur Otaku podcast. We do live streams every single Sunday. We have episodes and content coming throughout the week. And also, little by little, we are incrementing the episodes that we have on our Spotify. So on Spotify, we're also putting out the streams the next day. So if you missed the stream on Sundays, don't worry. You'll be able to see it on Spotify and hear it on the go. But also you can find it on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, wherever podcasts are found. You can find us. But we have a lot to discuss on this episode. Let's start with a little bit of news. I figured every Sunday we do a topic. And one of the first time we did this, we celebrated the 20 years of Naruto. We did a bit of a Q&A last time talking about our origins of the Amateur Otaku and answering some of our listener comments. And I figured that today it would be nice to switch things up a little bit and talk a little bit on some news that got us all excited. And Isaac, do you have any news to share? Do you have anything that you saw that looked interesting to you, even if it's something simple?
Well, it's a series that, even though we might not will be able to follow it on a bi-weekly or weekly basis, it's a show that I think we should cover once the season is over, and that is Made in Abyss Season 2 is airing on Toonami starting in November 5th.
Nice.
And that show, just for reference, or for people not seeing this show, you shouldn't see it if you shouldn't. How should I put it? It's not some cute family-friendly anime like what the picture poster makes you think it is.
Yeah, its presentation can be a little deceiving.
Yeah.
Yes, that is true. There is a lot of truth in that statement. A lot of truth in that statement.
It's an excellent show so far. I haven't read the manga, but in terms of anime, it's finally getting a video game, even though you would think that they already have one, or it has released. I don't know. I know that Spike Chunsoft, the people behind the AI.
It's by who?
It's behind a studio that makes AI the Somnium File games and.
Oh, so it's gonna be like a point and click,
like Danganronpa.
But it's like a point and click game with mini games and stuff.
I assume so, considering it's Chunsoft. But then again, they have done what's it called? They have distributed a game called. I own it on Switch. Give me a second.
The fact that you own it on Switch gives us
Monarch.
Okay. Isn't that like a vampire game?
And no, not really.
What is that game about?
A school being overtaken by a fog that, in short, a school that is overtaken by a fog that needs to be taken back by a young teenager with superpowers, overnatural powers. So,
Interesting. That's interesting.
with a very odd fighting mechanic.
Why is it an off fighting mechanic? I feel this
It's
is where
a
I think this is where the conversation is gonna go.
it's a turn
with-
it's a turn based. It's sort of like a turn based chess slash Warhammer style. It's hard to explain.
So it's like an XCOM.
No, not really. It's I can show you later on.
Okay, fair enough. So, but again, I'm excited. I love Made in Abyss. I mean, season Made in Abyss for me was a big surprise, not only because it is not what is not the it's not it is not how the package. It's one of those things that you cannot trust the presentation. Like
That's
you
for
think
certain.
you think it's going to be this nice Zelda-esque adventure, right? But suddenly you find out that it is a Zelda-like adventure. It is like a roguelike game, right? Where
Yeah.
you're literally doing dungeon crawling and stuff like that. But it gets into really, really tense subject matter. I think that I haven't seen an anime have that kind of twist in terms of its tone and presentation since Full Metal Alchemist. You know what I mean? Like Full Metal Alchemist.
I would say that this has much more of a twist than what Full Metal have, and I do love Full Metal.
No. What I mean by that is when you first watch Full Metal, right? It feels like this grand adventure, right? That there's kids that are the leads, right? And you feel it's
Yeah.
gonna be great, and then it becomes this super deep psychological and fantasy drama. And like these kids are dealing with a lot more than they bargained for, and they're thrifts into the world of adults that it's just weird and dangerous and deadly and gory. You know what I mean? Like it takes that kind of twist. So I like that juxtaposition of similar to Promise. I think when we talked about Made in Abyss, we talked a lot about Promise Neverland as well. You remember? On how the first season. Okay, calm down.
Yeah, I know. The second season is just so.
We don't. It doesn't exist. That is
Yeah.
the one thing that I want Ezra Miller to take with him when we go to the Flash. Take away Promise Neverland season 2. It never happened.
Same.
But you know what I mean? Like it's kids, but it's nice, pretty, it's interesting, and then it's like super dark. You know what I mean? And like Made in Abyss is that kind of show where that's pretty much what you see, what you notice, what happens, right? So, but yeah, I'm excited for that too. I'm excited for Made in Abyss to come back. And thank you for. I'm glad that you noticed that. I mean, I personally don't pay attention to so much news, so I don't really know what's coming out or what's happening. But I'm glad to know that that is coming back because I'm definitely going to check it out, and we're definitely going to cover it. Now, I know that you mentioned. Do you know if it's going to be available where you're at?
High Dive is available in Sweden, so I believe so. Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, it's gonna be Hive Dive that has it, and not Crunchyroll.
Good. Well, the cool thing is when I saw Made in Abyss: Dawn of Deep Soul, which is the sequel movie, right? It's like your season 1.5 or whatever.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of Civil War. If anybody needs to understand what I'm trying to say, it was on High Dive. Like it wasn't on anything else. It was just on High Dive. So I'm glad that such a big show like that is in a separate place, and I'm glad that you guys are able to see it. Hopefully now, since when it comes out, it might be something that we can cover in the future. So guys, if you guys want us to cover Made in Abyss season 2, just all you have to do is let us know, because apparently High Dive likes Sweden, and we can
But then again, it was on Vacuum before Funimation bought Crunchyroll, and so who knows? Maybe Crunchyroll has the European license. I don't know.
Cool. And it's such a good show too. Like, it's such a good show. So now I'm gonna go with my little bit of news that I saw that I found super interesting, that kind of blew my mind. And it didn't blow my mind because it's an amazing piece of news. It blew my mind because I had no idea that this existed. So it blew my mind because I didn't know that it was a thing. I didn't know that this was happening, and I feel ashamed of myself. So within that shame, I want to share the news that apparently over the last weekend, a Sword Art Online movie hit number 1 in the box office in theaters in Japan. And the crazy
is that the one that has been out in a while?
No, and that's the one thing that blew my mind. We're not talking about Ordinal Scale, which is the sequel movie that came out in between the last bit of season 2 and the Alicization arc, which Alicization is pretty much the last big trilogy that came out, which is Battle for the Underworld and all that stuff, where Kirito is stuck in the Alicization virtual world, which is it's literally like AI as opposed to just to what we know.
Horny guy.
That's very disturbing. But yeah, it's not the Alicization arc. So apparently what happened is that it made $2.17 million in Japan. So it was number 1 in Japan in the theaters, which is, I mean, it's amazing, especially as we know how big it is over anime movies are very highly regarded over there in Japan. Of course, I mean, they make them there, right? But
obviously.
But what I loved about this piece of news, this was on an article from comicbook.com, which came out on the 26th, is the fact that I thought that Sword Art Online was in a huge long hiatus, but to find out that not only a Sword Art Online movie went number 1, but that this is the second Sword Art Online movie that has come out in a span of 2 years, it blew my mind because I didn't know anything about it. So apparently, after Alicization, which was a huge hit, right? And yeah. I loved every bit of it. After Alicization, the creator of Sword Art Online started a new manga called Sword Art Online Progressive, which is a somewhat of a reboot of the original Sword Art Online, but the main character is Asuna. So we're seeing the whole story of Aincrad, of that first big season, through the eyes of Asuna. And I love the idea so much. And I found out that there's a movie that came out last year that's called Sword Art Online Progressive, Aria of the Starless Night, which covers the first chapter, right? It literally talks about Asuna. And the thing is that when we meet Asuna in the original season, she's already pretty much a badass. You know what I mean? But in this origin story, you find out that she was never really a gamer, and she just had a very good friend that was, and she joined Sword Art Online because of a friend, which again is an original character that Kuwahara created for the movie, for that series. So it creates a lot more depth to Asuna. So now we kind of see how Asuna became the Lightning Flash, which is one of the strongest and most popular characters that and players that was in the Aincrad arc. So we find out the story behind the general of the Blood Oath or whatever, which to me is great because I think Asuna is a great character, and the fact that they're servicing her in that way, it's great. And of course, Kirito is still there, and it looks like they're retooling a lot of the big battles that occur in season 1. So all that is actually pretty awesome. So I'm actually very excited for that. Supposedly, this movie's going to come out in the States in December, or at least they don't have any news on it yet. But now I am desperate because now I want to watch him. I want to watch him, Isaac. Damn it! but I don't. But I don't know where to watch him. I think Crunchyroll hasn't finalized deals to get him in, because I think in Crunchyroll you can watch the whole thing though. Like you can watch the original season, the second season, the one that you hate, and the movie, and the whole
You mean the
Alicization
entire
thing.
franchise?
Wow, I still love you, Isaac. But
I mean, let's face the fact. I'm not a fan of Sword Art Online in the slightest. So
yeah, yeah. But yeah. So it's
that's what I mean. That
Yeah,
was
yeah,
not a jab at you.
I know, but still, one day, I hope that you, hopefully, maybe progressive is the way that you are able to appreciate it a little bit.
I
Just
doubt it.
just a little bit, just a
I doubt
tad,
it.
just a jiggy.
When I know when it with Overlord and the Hack Dot series out there, I highly doubt it.
Well, you know.
But I'm glad that you do.
Yes, I love Sword Art Online. Now, last little bit is the following. We talked a little bit about news, guys. We just want to talk about news that we found interesting. Now, the other cool thing that happened is that we had a poll that was running for almost a week. I think we ran the poll, what was it, Isaac, like a week and a half ago? Something like that?
I believe so.
Right? And the poll was that Brandon, I've been reading a lot of different manga, apart from my regular watches that I do for the show and stuff that I do for pleasure and enjoyment. And I was wondering if you guys wanted me to do a manga review of any of these books. And the 4 books that we put out there as options for the poll, we put Shojin X, which is by Shiyu Ishida, which is Sui Ishida, I think is his name, which is the creator and mangaka of Tokyo Ghoul. So we mentioned Shojin X, we mentioned Shojin X, we mentioned the other one that we mentioned was Crazy Food Truck, which is a very interesting book. We mentioned also Psalm 100, which is by the creator of Alice in Borderlands, which is a great zombie comedy that I've enjoyed a lot. I own all 7 volumes that have come out, and I really enjoy it. But we also talked about the 4th choice, which actually was the one that won, and that is Rooster Fighter. So apparently, you did not just cockadoodle on air, Isaac. That is very disturbing, but I appreciate your enthusiasm. How did I hate you right now? I'm trying to run a very good show here, and you're not letting me. So, so the winner of the poll was Rooster Fighter. If you have no idea what this manga is about, do not worry. I'm going to show you just what it looks like. And I'm going to give you just a very simple idea of what to expect from the review that we will be sharing with y'all. This is how it looks. Rooster Fighter. It's a rooster that looks like it's about to kick some ass. And does it kick ass? Rooster Fighter kicks a lot of ass. But so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do I'm going to do a recording while I talk about the book as a whole. I'm going to go chapter by chapter, talking about little things that I like. It'll have a spoiler section and a non-spoiler section. I may show some panels here or there, but I'll give you a nice broad sense of what this book has to offer. And hopefully, if my review is awesome, which is going to be, you guys might pick it up and read it too and enjoy it. And maybe one day, one of you guys at home might be able to join us in a conversation about Rooster Fighter. So thank you to everybody that participated in the poll. We are working to have this review on Rooster Fighter out by the end of November, if not earlier. And once we have that review out, if you guys like that new format of review, we'll make sure to put another poll and do another one. So thank you to everybody that participated. And coming soon, Rooster Fighter Volume 1 review. Now, Isaac, there's a lot of people here that want to hear us talk about one thing and one thing only. And do you know what that thing is, Isaac?
No comment, because then I would... No. Yeah, I know. Chainsaw Man.
Yes. The time has come, guys. We are talking Chainsaw Man! Now, again, am I the only one that keeps listening to that theme song and loses his mind? Because I am enjoying every single little bit about this show, but also that theme song opening kickback, it is so amazing. It is so good. I mean, are you enjoying as much as I can, or are you just okay with it?
I'm just okay with it, if I'm being completely honest.
Okay, that's fair. I'm glad that you're honest. So now let's go in to talk about episodes 2 and 3. There's 2 episodes that came out in the last 2 weeks. Episode 2 is Arrival to Tokyo, which literally picks up right after the end of the first episode, where we find Denji resting on Makima's lap after killing a bunch of zombies, after becoming the titular Chainsaw Man. And the episode 3 was Meowie's Whereabouts, which is about a cat, a bat, and a fiend. Huh, you like that? I can write a book. You see that? Now,
Yeah.
there's a lot to talk about. There's a lot to discuss. A lot happens in these episodes. Isaac, episode 2, Arrival to Tokyo, right where it picks up. A lot happens. I like how all these episodes are so dense. Like, even though they're 23 minutes long, they feel so much longer because there's so much content in them. But I never feel that it's too much. Do you feel the same way?
No.
You don't?
I
Okay.
feel the same way, I mean.
Okay.
It's it has really good pacing overall in my
Yeah.
book.
Yeah. The pacing is superb. Like, nothing feels like it's too close to each other. Everything breathes very well. I love the animation. I love the mix. I love the subtle juxtaposition of hand drawn with CG animation. I think all of that animation is just right. Now, so Makima picks up Denji and literally grabs him to be part of this public safety unit, right? Which, by the way, is it just me, or why is every single organization that is a particular brand of police, why is it all called public safety? Is that just a Japan thing, that everything's called public safety? Because
Probably.
I've seen it in Psychopaths, Chainsaw Man. I'm pretty confident I've seen it in something else, but I've even seen it. That's how they call themselves also in Astral Chain, right?
I'm fairly certain, yes.
Yeah, so it's like, I think it's a Japan thing, that everything is just public safety. Public safety devil hunters. But, so apparently, Makima grabs Denji so he can join the devil hunter public safety unit. So now he's a freelance devil hunter. He now works for the government. So now he's an actual dog. Which, I find that particular observation kind of hilarious, because not only Makima treats him and talks to him like a dog, like she can be so menacing, but she sounds like she's whispering with so much love at the same time. She's a very interesting character.
Why do you think I call her a dominatrix?
But that's the thing, though. I don't want to call her that because when you see a dominatrix, it requires violence. There's no tenderness.
Again, you can see her having a Denji on all four, and he walks like a dog with her having a leash on him.
Yes, you can see that on the opening, and it's hilarious, and it's beautiful, and it's disturbing. Yes, you are right. Now, the idea of so she's talking to him like, if you don't do this, I can either keep you as a human or kill you as a devil. Which, by the way, what a way of drawing the line and talking to him in truth. Period. Which again, bravos to Makima, right? But at the same time, what do you think about Denji kind of just not caring about that though? Like for a moment, you see him kind of like surprised and scared, but at the same time, then he just looks at Makima and remembers how he kind of falls in love with her because now he wants to, I don't know, get on with her and be with her for whatever reason, even though he just met her. He just goes along because he's happy. What do you think about his disposition now on how he talks and goes about himself?
He's a horny teenager that's never been with a girl who suddenly have the what's it called, the quote unquote affection slash sympathy from a hot redhead. It's not going for, and she's the one that is the first time in forever, if at all, that really quote unquote taken care of him. So it's no wonder why he acts the way he acts towards her.
You know, and that's interesting that you mentioned that because the one thing I love about Denji's character is that on one side he has seen the worst of people and he has seen the worst that the world has to offer, right? Because not only was he a devil hunter, not only was he pretty much had his life on a lease because he had to pay his life, he had to pay his ability to stay alive by paying this debt to the Yakuza, right? So not only does he knows the worst of human beings, he also saw the worst of a devil and got killed by one. So he got killed and shoved up and thrown to the trash. Like everybody's treated him like trash all his life, and he ended up in a trash can. So he's seen the worst of everything. And now, for the first time, he's experiencing kindness. So it's like he's not oblivious to how bad things can get, but I do like the innocence that Denji brings with his demeanor. Does that make sense? Because it's not just the fact that he's kind of a horn dog, even though he is, but it's also like you kind of see him like he doesn't act his age. Like he's still like a baby learning how the world works, but he's just happy to be around everything because he's never had it before.
He has pretty much been forced to raise himself. So again, it's not that surprising with his behavior. Isn't he like 15 or 16?
Yeah, it has to be. And he already lost one of his nuts. So, I mean, how bad can it really get?
Although I wouldn't be surprised if he grew it back after he fused with... I mean... It wouldn't be the weirdest thing that would happen in this manga.
Do you imagine
and also,
that as Poshita... No.
Also,
do you imagine... Wait. Do you imagine as Poshita is putting him back together, Poshita grabs a marble that was left aside and goes like, this is your new testicle.
Oh my god, that's kind of disturbing. But for the record, they don't mention that in the anime. Mangas. Don't you worry, this isn't a spoiler. It just... it's not a spoiler, just what if scenario here.
What?
I was
Talking
never
about the
mind.
marble? Talking about the marble? He probably grew his ball back. Guys, we said it here first. Denji now has 3 balls. So, now, I love how he's so excited to just be beside this girl that he's never been before, right? And I love how he enjoys eating udon for the first time, and he doesn't care if he is treated like a dog. Whatever he goes through now cannot be worse than what he went through already, which is a very particular vision of life that I find interesting, especially for a lead character. You know what I mean? Like, most lead characters, they've gone through a lot, but like Denji was just taken to the far end of the of the spectrum. You know what I mean? Like Naruto
Yeah.
was alone. Naruto was abandoned. But he wasn't killed. I mean, almost. But you know what I mean? I find that interesting.
As I said before, he like you said before, he's a teenage kid who has been forced to kind of raise himself. Suddenly, a hot redhead says, "Come with me. I like you. I will take care of you." Of course, it's gonna be okay acting like a dog.
Yep. True. I want to get to
Hormones can. Uh, I know that I'm just joking, doing sex jokes all the time, but in all seriousness, hormones are a strong thing for teenage boys and teenage girls, but should I say, people in general.
So what we're trying to say is use protection. No. Hey, you set it up just right.
I mean, you're not wrong.
Wow. So he's taken to Tokyo to Makima's office. Apparently Makima runs a special segment of these devil hunters, and it's an experimental group. And the first character that we meet is this Sasuke wannabe type, because there's no way that you don't see him as a Sasuke type. Am I wrong?
No.
Like, he is 100% a Sasuke type character. I 100% forgot his name because I don't do my job. But
Mr.
I know
Mr. I smoke a cigarette and get my balls kicked at by Denji.
I appreciate you taking the time to build up to the nut job. Like, why is it that you go to the farthest areas first? Why?
Well, I like to crack some jokes.
I mean, and he likes to crack some nuts. So I like, but okay. So let's go straight to that encounter apparently, because apparently you want to talk about a guy that got his balls crushed. So this guy, which again I forgot his name. Can someone tell me his name? I know it's Akaya Hayabusa or something. I don't know anything about anyone. Let's see. Aki. That's the guy. Aki. So Aki is being tasked by Makima, which apparently he's like a lieutenant, right? That's kind of the.
Yep.
So he's kind of the lieutenant of that group, and Makima says that he has to take Denji in, and the first thing that he does, because of course he's talking about wanting to be with Makima, if Makima has a boyfriend, like he's just being super innocent about all this, and Aki just beats his ass, and again, he literally beats his ass and lets him, and Denji allows himself to get beat. But I think what's important before we go to the nut job is what Aki says, which I think it talks about his character. And it's that every devil hunter that he's met that don't have a real goal or drive end up dying. Like if you become a devil hunter for the wrong reasons, you're gonna die. But if you have the right reasons, then you can be successful as a devil hunter, right? So I I do find that interesting, and it kind of tells you a little bit about Aki's about. And what I like about that is that, have you noticed that every time that we've met a new character that's meant to be important, Tatsuki Fujimoto goes out of his way to automatically tell you what they're about. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't waste time to tell you what is the want or the drive of this character, or give you at least like a bit of a tug into what that is. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because some characters like Sasuke, he's just crying for like, I don't know, half a season, and then you kind of get more information.
That's an understatement.
Yeah, but I do like the fact that he's that we're able to get. We already have an idea of who he is, and already we're calling him a dick. But then he opens his mouth, and we kind of understand, but we still hate him. And instead of waiting a whole season for us to pay him back for being a dick, Isaac, what does Denji do? What does Denji do after Aki tries to kick his ass?
Kick him in the nuts.
And not only does he kick him in the nuts, go on, Isaac.
He truly kick him in the nuts.
Repeatedly. Like he went full Liu Kang on this man's balls. You know that thing with the bicycle kick that Liu Kang does? He literally fondles this guy's balls with amazing kicks. And you got to figure, Denji he might have been poor, he might have been hungry a lot, but he was working as a devil hunter for a long time. So I'm pretty confident Denji's not a weak guy.
No.
So I'm pretty confident Aki can never have kids now. So
I mean, this is a world filled with a different type of devils. So
yes.
who the heck knows?
What are you trying to say? That now there's going to be a devil that's going to give Aki his balls back? Is that what you're trying to say?
I mean, it's not. How should I put it? In the rules of this within this universe, it wouldn't be that surprising.
The fact that he'll have his balls back, or
everything.
Look at this guy's face. Don't you want to just kick this guy's face?
No.
I'd kick him. Look at this guy. Like, you deserve the kick in the balls you got. He's looking down at Denji. He spits at him. Yes, you got kicked in the balls, Aki. You deserved every bit of it. And isn't it funny that after he kicks him in the balls, Denji just takes him to Makima, like trying to say that a devil got him.
I mean, it makes sense why you would say that.
Yeah.
And technically, he's not wrong, considering he is half a devil.
You see, Isaac, for smart stuff like that, that's why we keep you around.
So, he technically didn't lie.
Hey, devils don't lie. Only humans do. As we're going to find out from this other character later. Even though that's a lie. But we're going to talk about that. But then we're going to talk about that too. Now, the last bit of information, there's two more important things. There's a lot to talk about. There's two, because I'm telling you guys, these episodes of Chainsaw Man have been super, super, super dense. So there's a lot to talk about on Chainsaw Man. Now, after the nut job, Aki he takes Denji to his house, so they have to share an apartment, and Denji's never shared, and again, the innocence of having been raised by himself, right? He's never had a bath, he's never had all these things, so he's living for the first time, which again, it's one of those tropes, right? You have to die before you can start living, right?
Yeah.
It makes me think about the whole Shawshank Redemption thing. Like, it took me going to prison for me to become a crook, which again is one of the best lines ever.
I mean, the movie in general is a masterpiece, but that's well, we have a Shatter After episode about that movie.
Wink, wink.
Although, is that one published?
I don't think so, but it's coming. It's hey, we're looking
me
into the
double
future. Damn it, let us be looking into the future. But yeah, so Aki takes them home, and then they go on a mission. They go on their first mission together, and we find something that's called a fiend. So we're seeing different types of demons. We've seen zombie devil, the tomato devil, and now we're seeing the chainsaw devil, which, or at least Chainsaw Man, which is part of that, right? And now we see a fiend, which is when a devil takes control of a dead human body. Is that what it is? Something like that.
Yeah.
It becomes a fiend, and then it's no longer human. It just gets powered. So Denji kills this guy, but apparently there's this dialogue with Aki because apparently Denji wants to make friends or doesn't want to just kill demons. He wants to do. He knows it's a job, but I kind of like that wrinkle that Denji brings to the equation because you learn from Aki that a lot of people have died, have lost family members. A lot of tragedies occur on a daily basis because of devils. That most of the people in the public safety squad, people like Aki and devil hunters, they kill devils so that other people don't suffer. But Denji killed devils to survive. And Denji had a pet devil. So his relationship to devils is completely different. And I think what I like about Denji's character because of that is that not only now is he half demon, half devil, half human, but he sees devils and humans as equals. Did you catch that? He doesn't see them as different type of people. What do you think about that? Because it's kind of like, again, I think we talked about this when we were talking Doron, I think, that like every show now is devil related apparently or demon related. Everything is demons. Like Demon Slayer, Doron, this.
I mean, everything has a. Everything has a. How should I put it? Hot topics.
Yeah, everything is demons, devils, and all in between. But I like this. But I like that this one. Not only does it give you the sense,
it's probably gonna be just a ton of spies and assassins and families and all that. Yes, if you catch my drift.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like Denji as a character. Sometimes I find him as a non-character. Sometimes, but I don't know you, but I feel that the anime has made Denji come to life a lot more than I felt him in the book. Do you sense any of that? Like I feel like Denji has been more
Care to elaborate?
Well, like when I read the book, I can see them, but I think because of the nuance and the voice acting that the actors are putting into it, like there's a thing about just bringing a character to life, but like I've never seen Denji as a character as alive as I see him now. Does that make sense?
I think so.
And I liked the sub version, but I actually checked out Ryan's Denji. Ryko Levi, a friend of the show, is the voice of Denji in the dub, and boy, he does a phenomenal job in bringing
phenomenal voice actor in general.
Yes, yeah, but he brings all that innocence. He brings the ferocity. He brings all the little boxes that you have to tick when you bring Denji to life, and it was just great. But yeah, I'm enjoying Denji a lot as a character, but I like how everybody's trying to save lives, but he's focusing on his dreams. And what are his dreams, Isaac?
Coping a feel.
He needs to touch boob, guys. He wants to touch a damn boob. This kid.
Again, he's 16 and he's
No, I
never
know.
been with a girl.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's a horny thing. No, I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I just find it interesting how everybody has these grandiose, like everybody's gonna have like a dream, right? But like, and of course, Poshita joined him because he wants to see him live his dream, and he dreams about the smallest things, but it's big for him because of everything that he's lived through already. Because these are things that he never thought were possible. But now it is. So boobs. He will do it for boobs. To one day hold Makima's or someone's boobs. We stand with Denji as wanting boobs. Did I take it too far, Isaac? I think I took it too far.
You're asking me about taking sex jokes too far. I'm not the one to answering that.
I mean, you're the one that has mad on the name, so I just figured, you know.
I have no right saying if you have took it too far or not. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but still, you should. So Denji's new dream is to touch a boob. So now he's looking for ways. I don't know, boobs. Oh, and by the way, did you find it hilarious when he said, "Well, Aki doesn't understand that I didn't kill him right away because I didn't want these playboys to get." I didn't want like, and then after he kills the fiend, he goes and, "Don't worry, man, your porn collection is safe with me. I'm gonna collect this as evidence." I can only imagine. Do you know how right before this we have the whole segment of Aki and Denji in the apartment?
Yeah.
I know there's an X-rated version of this. Well, not I'm gonna go R, not X. That was way too bad. But there's another version of this where Aki's just walking.
This has got some extra layers. So.
Wow. At some point, Aki's just walking through the apartment and he finds the magazines, and then he regrets picking them up. Oh, this is so bad. Chainsaw Man. Just for kids. I'm kidding. It's not. Horny kids. So this show is so great. Isaac, we're still in episode 2. We spent all this time talking about just one episode, but it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And then they introduce a very psychotic introduction part of the team.
I think you mean a very powerful team member.
Yeah.
Wink, a wink. Ladies and gents.
That joke was so bad that I actually allow it.
I mean, it's you can't say that you can't allow it. It's meant to be a bad joke. But ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. That's why I say that it was so bad that I allow it.
But here's the one thing. We saw all this story. That was great. We got all this story throughout the whole thing, right? We got the whole introduction with Aki. We got the nut job. We got the fiend. We got the whole time in the beginning of the episode with Maki. And again, this episode was only 23 minutes long. And all this happened in 23 minutes. It's nuts. And then at the end
I know that the mangaka is part of the production for the anime, so
I'm really grateful for that, actually. I'm really grateful for that. That if we thought that the episode was going to be over just with the rescuing of some Playboy magazines, no. We get to meet power. So apparently, in this team, there is... Oh, that was the wrong one. Brandon, you need to know what you're doing before you share a screen, damn it. We meet power, which is a fiend, which is a devil that took hold of a human's dead body. It's a part of this experimental squad that he is a part of. And not only are they sent on patrol, they're given instructions of how to manage people and whatever. And she ends up making a mess by killing a devil. So she does her job, but she makes a mess. So we find this hyperactive, proud, over the top character that is completely unpredictable.
Over the top is an understatement.
Yep. That as soon as we go into episode 3, all we find out is that they're in trouble. What I like about it though is that, to me, what I found special of that moment with Power, Denji, and Makima at the beginning of episode 3, which is the aftermath of the mess that Power made, is the fact that Makima treats Power the same way she treats Denji, as disposable assets. Which, of course, Denji doesn't see himself that way because he's going to do whatever he needs to do to be with Makima. Does that make sense?
Yep.
So he's not going to see things the way they are. But I like the fact that we get that distinction that he actually treats Power the same way.
Also, they have instead of showing them the shot of Power and Denji arguing with each other, what are they focusing on? The ass of Makima. So again, people wonder why I'm calling this.
Wait, what?
Anime.
What?
Yeah.
I didn't. And it's, you know what? I'm actually, wow. I never noticed that. I mean, I noticed it with Orihime, but that comes after. But I did not notice that with Makima at all.
I mean,
you
see her back with the ass centered, and in front of her, you have those two arguing with each other.
I love how we're talking like we're doing like photography analysis. How do we capture Makima's ass? Like we're trying to take the perfect picture. Like Isaac, this is supposed to be a nice, clean show, but apparently you can't because we're talking Chainsaw Man and Makima's ass. See, what I did notice.
I told you, if My Hero Academia and Spy X Family is PG-13, our Chainsaw Man and Bleach is going to be R-rated.
Now, I'm not going to disagree with you because I'm going to have to watch. When I watch the dub, I'll pay attention to see if I see that happening. I promise. Now, what I did notice, though, is that you do see that a lot when it comes to Makima and Power's rack, because Denji's always looking at their breast because of his dream. Because all he wants to do is cop a feel, wants boobs. So we get a lot of close-ups. Of course, we don't see anything, but we, you know what I mean? But we see, like, it's funny. It's like, you're not looking, I'm looking. No, I'm not looking, you're looking. You know what I mean? Like we're all being forced to look at things from Denji's perspective, and I find it hilarious how deliberate it is. But there's so they're both in trouble. They can't do messes. Power, because she's a fiend, she cannot go out on her own. But apparently, tell me about it, Isaac. Apparently, Power lost her cat, or a bat devil, or a devil took her cat hostage. And of course, Denji and Power don't get along. Denji just sees her as a pest that he will never be able to get in contact with. But they come to an agreement.
You're a bit robotic.
I'm sorry.
You become a bit robotic. So,
can I look? Do I sound better? Do I sound better now?
Yes, you do.
Okay. So they get together. They don't get together, but they have to work together. They have no choice because they're going to live in the same place with Aki and blah 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 blah. But one of the things that we do find is that they come to an agreement when Power tells Denji about the cat, and I like how they're both like emotionless to a degree, but they are emotional about what they're emotional, but they can't find a way to connect emotionally with each other. Does that make sense? Because you can tell that they both have this pain or feeling like Denji feels about Poshita, but he says that he doesn't understand cats because if it were a dog, because they're not the same, right? And then, but then Denji and Power come to an agreement. Isaac, what was this agreement that Power and Denji come to?
If he saves Meowie, he can touch her breast.
The price of copping a feel. Kill the devil, save a cat. I mean, am I the only one that finds it hilarious that he has to save the pussy to touch the breast? So, like,
Good thing Mike is not here because he's
Yes.
just gonna go
Yes.
bad Isaac, bad Brandon.
yes, yes. I don't know. It was a perfect setup. I don't know if Tatsuki, I don't know if the mangaka did it on purpose. I don't know if he did it. Oh my god, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but I see it clear as day. But so he's gonna save Meowie to cop a feel. For some reason, Denji now feels like this super hero, like, and he doesn't feel like a superhero because he's doing something heroic. He feels like a superhero because he's closer to touching boobs. And I like this innocent idiocy of Denji. I keep going back to the same thing because I just love that quality of him. You know what I mean? Like, because it's not like Luffy, right? The one thing of Luffy that's super interesting is that Luffy is never really seen as a bright person.
No,
He's in a,
no.
you know what I mean? But he's an amazing fighter. Like when it comes to battle, he's super strategic. He doesn't seem like it, but he is a very, very powerful strategic mind when it comes to fighting, right? I know that enough of Luffy.
He makes Goku look like a genius at times. So
Well, but that's mostly in social interactions, not much in the battles, right? But with Denji, Denji's not dumb. Denji's smart. And I like a lot of the internal dialogue that we like, for example, with Luffy, we never get internal dialogue. Really? Like, because there's probably no dialogue to find out because he's never thinking. But with Denji, there's a lot of internal dialogue and it's very interesting and very cool. And so that is super cool, everything on there. Now, when it comes to him feeling like a hero because he's getting close to his dream, I like the energy because you got to think about it. It's a stupid dream or stupid idea, right? But he's giving it all for what he wants. And how many people live their lives and don't have that energy? I like like it's a social kind of commentary. You know what I mean? Like it's he puts the same energy and effort to whatever he tries to do, whether it's big or small or simple. You see what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I like maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I like that presentation of his character. I like it a lot. Now, what do we find out, Isaac, when he gets there? Because he literally goes to the library and rents Power out, which I find is so interesting. Like she's under surveillance all the time, being that she's a fiend and all. But once they get to the house, what happens? Apart from the fact that they have this conversation that she hates humans and all that stuff, what exactly happens?
well, she has she used him as a bait of here we go, here you have a human, can I get my cat back?
Yeah. And I find that very interesting because it kind of gives you the psychology of devils kind of. Like devils only think about themselves, right? or they think about things that are primal or raw or whatever, because she's willing to do everything she can to save Meowie, right? She'll do whatever's necessary. Now, but at the same time, she says, devils never lie. So the question is, do devils lie, or is that her human side lying? Does that make sense? Because especially that whole argument. But I love how she says that she never says that she loves Meowie, but she shows like she has this emotional connection to the cat, right? But what's interesting is when the Bat Devil, which by the way looks horrendous. Do you find it interesting that most devils look horrendous? Like,
I mean, it makes sense.
yeah, yeah, like it's really like grotesque. But I like how they also don't feel like they don't fit in the world. They just look grotesque, right? But when the Bat Devil betrays Power, so Power betrays Denji and knocks him out and gives him as food to the devil. The devil crushes him and drinks the blood. The blood to the devil tastes tainted or dirty because, of course, we're talking about devil blood, right? And then the Bat Devil, what I like about this episode in particular is that it teaches us something about devils that we need to know for the future, is that devils thrive through blood. We learned a little bit through Poshita, but now it's more deliberately explained here that blood is the means through how devils can regenerate, grow stronger, and just grow and evolve, right? Because I don't know if you noticed that the first drink of blood, he regained his arm. When he ate Meowie and then ate Power, he grew wings because he didn't have wings before. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Talking about the Bat Devil specifically. So I like how we keep learning the mechanics of the world, the rules of the world. But going back to when Power betrays Zenji, gives him to the Bat Devil, and then the Bat Devil betrays Power and eats the cat, we get a flashback to kind of like the birth of Power, or how Power came to be.
Yeah.
Which, again, it's a very interesting scenario, very beautiful, very childlike, very Adam and Eve-esque, right? At least how they present it in that type of nature. And the first thing she says when she finds the cat is, "Here, let me give you some food. Let's grow you, so I can eat you."
But then she grows closer to the cat, so...
Yeah. But do you think that she really goes closer to the cat, or she really just wanted the cat for herself? To eat herself? Like, is there real emotion there? Or are we supposed to believe that it's supposed to be not ironic, that's not the word I'm looking for. It's treated like the spinning top in Inception. Like, we're not meant to understand if she's being honestly, emotionally connected, or if she's just trying to really just eat him at the end anyway.
I think it's open for interpretation.
Right. Because they're not specific about it, right? So I guess we're gonna have to find out in episode 4 what happens, because we do get a kick-ass battle between Chainsaw Man and the Bat Devil, and Chainsaw Man just goes on him, and he's just amazing.
And and the Bat Devil wonder why he tries to kill and protect humans, and he said, "I want a cup of eel."
Yes. Why is this so hard? I just want a cup of eel. No, and the best thing about it is, why are you trying to save humans? And he goes, I don't care about humans. And he grabs the car when the guy just jumps out of the car and he
No,
throws the car.
why should I care about a dude? I just want a cup of field.
Not the hero we need, but the hero we deserve.
Kinda.
I like how he's a different type of hero. He's a different type of lead, you know? He kind of reminds me, not it's not the same, I know, but he kind of reminds me of Constantine in that way. And like he's the kind of hero, quote unquote, that he doesn't care what the costs are as long as the villain is defeated, kind of. You know what I mean? He's not
Yeah.
he doesn't go to the extent of Amanda Waller where he's just gonna blow up heads when nobody wants to obey or if needs to happen, you know what I mean? But he's gonna do a lot of crazy stuff, even if nobody else agrees, because that's what needs to happen. So I kinda like that he only thinks of himself, but he does the heroic thing even though he's thinking of himself. And I am safe to report that having read, I'm actively reading the manga. It's good, but you guys should read the manga. It's great. But I mean, it was a great episode,
As
right?
insane as the anime, if not even more insane.
Yes, yes, it does. So Isaac, I don't know. Do you got anything else on Chainsaw Man?
Outside of it being extremely horny, no.
Wow, that's it is extremely horny. But I like now the one last thing I do want to talk about from Chainsaw Man in general is the whole thing about devils, and especially how devils are created and how devils powers and abilities increase or are determined. Do you remember the conversation that Makima has with Aki? Because it happens in this episode, where she talks about how devils are born out of a devil can be born out of anything,
Yeah.
but the power that that devil's going to have is determined by the fear that humanity has to that particular devil or thing.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So
Why do you
I
wonder?
no. What I mean is like what a very interesting lore explanation for the world we live in, for the world of the anime. Like the reason there's a tomato devil is because people are scared of tomatoes for some reason. Like someone went to bed after watching Attack of the Killer Tomatoes, freaked out, and the devil came up. Like,
I mean, who knows? That movie probably scarred a kid or two when they were young.
yes. Now, then you have Chainsaw Devil because people can't be scared of chainsaws. I mean, it's a violent weapon, right? And now you have the Bat Devil, and people are scared of bats. So that was a pretty powerful devil. So it makes you think, what other things are we going to be seeing that the stronger, so whatever, so we got to keep a lookout on things that people are afraid of, because those things that people are afraid of, a devil may appear based on that type of fear. But I like that because it literally makes the possibilities of how many devils we can see endless. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because
which is a
anybody
smart move.
exactly. Yep. I
So
said not.
the possibilities are endless for the mangaka, which, well, as I just said, is brilliant.
Yeah. So I don't know. I love how the anime is pacing everything. They're kind of covering they're covering between 3 to 4 chapters an episode, right?
I don't have that part in my head, so I can't.
I think it's something like that because I know that
I'm not Mike with his My Hero
with
Academia
my hair.
knowledge.
I mean, I'm not. I mean, the first chapter of Chainsaw Man is the longest, every other chapter is probably 15, 20 pages. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're doing 3 to 4 chapters, or at least that's how it feels with how dense these episodes are, you know,
Yeah.
because they cover so much ground. But I like that you never feel that you're missing something or that
I mean, didn't
that it's too
the
much.
mangaka make a one shot that was basically 100 pages or something?
Yeah, he
Or am
did
I
one.
misremembering?
That was Goodbye Area, I think it was. But yeah, I do remember that. Now, one of the things that I wanted to highlight before we finish was Chainsaw Man. Because again, great show. If you guys like what we've talked about throughout the reviews, make sure to let us know in the comments in the description. Just join the conversations and let us know what you loved about episode 2 and 3 of Chainsaw Man. So Mike said something that blew my mind the first time we talked about Chainsaw Man, and the one thing that he said was that every week, every new episode will have a different opening. And I was very disappointed in a
He
way
mistook
because
it. He mistook it for ending.
no, and that's what I was gonna say, which is not bad. Which is a simple. It's not even a mistake. You know, it is. It's not something we're used to, but I'm glad that he was still right because we have gotten a different ending with every episode, which never happens. And I like how in tune with the episode the endings are, and it gives like a different feel when that chapter or that episode closes. Do you agree?
Mm, sort of.
Do you prefer it have the same ending with every episode?
Honestly, I really don't think about it on that regard.
So you really just care about watching the show and that's it. You really don't pay
I
attention to those kind
I'm,
of.
I'm I think, oh, it's a neat ending. Oh, it's a neat opening. I don't really think about in much more than that usually.
Okay. Okay, cool. So guys, we've done it. We've talked Chainsaw Man episode 2 and 3. There's a lot going on here. We learned more about this world of devils. We learned a lot more about Denji and his need to cop a feel. Will we see him cop that feel next episode? Because he beat the bad devil. I mean, it's not. I don't think we saw him save power, but we saw him beat the bad devil. So will he? Will he cop a feel? Will he not? Will he be satisfied? Does he need to be Makimas? I don't know. I guess we'll find out when Chainsaw Man continues every Tuesday. That's where every episode comes out. Make sure to keep watching, and we will keep covering it. Guys, thank you for joining us on this coverage of Chainsaw Man. If you like what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure you click like button, you subscribe to our channel, you click on the bell for notifications so you don't miss any single episodes of the Amateur Otaku Podcast. We do podcasts and videos and every single week, and we live stream every Sunday. As you guys know, we do Chainsaw Man as a bi-weekly coverage. So next Sunday, we're going back to covering My Hero Academia and Spy Family, and it's not going to be till the Sunday after that we go back to Chainsaw Man. So make sure to keep reading Chainsaw Man if you're reading it, keep watching it, and don't worry, we will return to this in 2 weeks. Now, as you guys know, we're going to take a quick little break and we're going to jump into Bleach, the 1,000-Year Blood War episodes 2 and 3. So much happened in those 2 episodes. Another great production for the fall season, and I can't wait to talk about it with Isaac as after this simple break. But for those that haven't not watched Bleach, make sure to catch up with it and then return. And if not, we will see you next time when we return next Sunday with My Hero Academia and Spy Family. Isaac, if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Well, they can find me at Emblemaniac on Twitter, and they can find me over my work at Women Entertainment. Well,
And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter, and you can find the pod at Amateur Otaku Pod. Have it awesome, guys, and we will see you next time. See you in a bit,
peace.
guys. And now We will go on break for a little bit, and we will start on Bleach. See you in a bit. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, and welcome back to the Amateur Otaku podcast live stream that we do every single Sunday. Welcome, guys. We're ready. We're here.
And Kai!
Ben Kai! We just finished covering Chainsaw Man episodes 2 and 3, and as you guys know, whenever we do Chainsaw Man, what do we do, Isaac? We also cover Bleach. Thousand-Year Blood War. Bleach is back, baby. And I was listening to Isaac say those specific words for almost like 7 months or a year since they announced it, Isaac. But I gotta say, I am so excited that Bleach is back. And as someone that never had a chance to really watch the entire anime series, but I've seen a lot of it and understand the world and love it so much, and I do enjoy so much. I love being able to jump back into the world of Bleach and enjoy this show because it feels that it helps if you know what came before it, but the show is flowing in a way that you don't need to know what happened before. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It makes it very seamless, and I'm enjoying every minute of it. But yeah, let's not waste time. Let's go right into Bleach, the Thousand-Year Blood War, episodes 2 and 3. These are episode 2, Foundation Stones, and episode 3, March of the Star Cross. Now, Isaac, if people like to find us, they can click on the like button. They can click subscribe, click on the bell for notifications. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss any of the episodes that we do every single Sunday and that you don't miss any coverage on Bleach, the Thousand-Year Blood War. We do put the episodes individually every week when we do them, and there's also a playlist there for Chainsaw Man, My Hero, Spy Family, and Bleach. So, without further ado, let's go to Bleach. Isaac, episode 2, Foundation Stones. It picks up right where the first one left off, which was with the report of these agents of the people that call themselves the Waldenreich. And they are reporting to their master, which they haven't said his name. If you go to Google, you can find out his name. But if they haven't said it in the show, I'm not going to say it here because I can't pronounce it. So fair. That's fair, right?
Yeah, it's pretty German.
Yeah, it's says the Swedish man.
Sprechen Sie Deutsch, bitte?
No, I have not been bitten. So
It's do you speak German in German?
I don't in German.
I'm part German too.
I don't speak German and English either, so I don't. Now, I don't know about you, Isaac, but the blend, because I've seen the first 140 episodes of Bleach, so I've seen it from the very beginning, and I've seen how the animation evolved through the years. Like if we can talk about two shows that the animation evolves with the years, Bleach is one of them. Naruto is another one, right?
This is arguably Studio Pierrot at its finest.
And yes, and I think, and here's why I think that. I want to hear why you think that too, but here's why I think that. Reason why Studio Pierrot is doing such an amazing job is because they are they make the traditional Bleach art style feel new. Does it make sense what I'm saying? Because
I think so.
because you know how sometimes when they modernize something, like for example, I'm going to give you an example. It might be a bad example, but it's an example nonetheless. Because it's two different types of animation together. But like when you watch Trigun, and then you watch the trailer for the new Trigun remake, it's a modernized Trigun. You know it's Vash because you can see the color, you can see the hair, you can see the glasses, right? You know that's Vash the Stampede. You see the robot arm, like all the things are there, right? But it doesn't feel and it doesn't look like the original Trigun. Which again, when you're modernizing, it's never going to feel that way. But somehow, I watch this Bleach, I watch the Thousand Year Blood War and watch the animation, and it still feels like I'm watching the same show that came out almost 20 years ago. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it still have the essence. Like Ichigo looks like Ichigo, Ishida looks like Ishida, Sado looks like Sado, like Orihime still looks like Orihime. Like all the characters feel. Hueco Mundo feels like Hueco Mundo. Karakura Town feels like that. Urahara, and like I noticed it the most with Urahara, like, and he arrives in this episode in a particular scene, but you know how he always had like the little the spit curl pretty much in the center of his forehead, right?
Yeah.
In the past, he would do the same thing, and the animators would make it look like a straight sleeve of gold. In this one, you can see like the hairs that make the curl. Does that make sense? You can see all those attentions to detail, which again maybe they couldn't do before, but still the character models still feel like the character models that I've been seeing forever. And I feel right at home. And I don't know, man. I love that about this. I think that's one of the reasons why I'm enjoying it so much as well, because it doesn't feel like it's a different Bleach. Does that make sense?
It feels sort of like if let's argue that this arc have been it's sort of like a remaster kind of deal.
Yes, it feels like a remaster, in all the right ways. You know what I mean? Like they literally dialed up. They took the art and they dialed up the enhancements up to 11, because even the effects of the flames and all that stuff, you can tell that they're CG enhanced, but it's animated CG enhanced. It's not pure CG. And that's the other thing I love about it. Nothing here is pure CG. Everything feels animated.
Yeah,
Does it,
agreed.
right? And which I'm glad that they went that route, because you can tell that they were trying to conserve that the feel that the original Bleach animation had, because it had its own style, it had its own feel. You know what I mean? It had its own groove to it. It feels, and I love the fact that you can come back home. And what better way to make this feel like you're coming back home with Bleach? But Isaac, can we talk about the opening? Because if anything felt like Bleach, buddy,
It's the opening.
bro, what did you think when you first saw the opening Scar for the new Bleach series? Because we never got it. I don't think we got to see it in the first episode, right?
We didn't get it in the first episode, no.
We got it for the first time here. What were your thoughts when you saw it for the first time?
It's a perfect Bleach opening.
Yeah. And it did the thing where it didn't just give you like a bunch of things. It started with the word bleach.
Yeah.
Like it made it front and center. It was there. And I love the whole play with gray, black, and pink. And like a commentary to Blood War and all that stuff. So I really like all that a lot. I don't know, man. I've enjoyed this show a lot. And a lot happens in the next 2 episodes. So, Isaac, let's start talking about episode 2. And the last thing before we actually start talking about the episode is, did you notice the shot, the cinematography, and the first shot that we get on this first episode? Did you notice that the first shot of this episode is a reflection?
That I did not think of.
So the first shot of the episode is of this leader of the Waldenreich, right? But it's the reflection of the leader of the Waldenreich from the puddle of blood of that guy that got his arm ripped off on the previous episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
And well, just a quick comment, sort of like that. I'm ashamed to say that, but I didn't really think about it when I first read it. But I have a friend that watches is an anime only and watches Bleach, and he said, "Is the Quincy's based on the Third Reich?" And I'm just, yeah. I think that it just screams the Third Reich with the Quincy's, especially this quote unquote general of sorts.
Well, that's the thing, though. I don't think. Well, you know more of this than I do, but I don't think you ever get that sense from the Quincy's until now, though.
Yeah, that's what I mean with the.
Yeah, because as of before this arc, we know that supposedly Uryu is like the last of the Quincy's. There's no more Quincy's anywhere. We know that they were, or at least how they were presented, there were a group of people besides the Soul Society Soul Reapers that used to deal with hollows. But now we find out there's a bunch of group of Quincy's, and these Quincy's are like
Psychopaths.
Yes, and they're super powerful, and they're on a rampage trying to destroy the Soul Society, destroy the world of the living, but also Hueco Mundo, which is like they're trying to take over everything. And I mean everything. Now, what I like about all this is not only are we getting characters from previous arcs back, I like how mature the main cast feels. Like, this is not the same Ichigo that we met in the first season of Bleach. Let's start with that.
He still has his temper, but yes, he's certainly not the same as the first chapter / pilot episode.
Yeah, he's smarter, he's strategic, he's patient. Like, this is someone that's he's like the old hero, right? And like and I like the feeling of because these Arankar came to ask for help when Nell and Pesha came back from Hueco Mundo because of what the Waldenreich is doing over there. I like the kind of nostalgic feel from Ichigo, like they keep pulling me back in. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of get that sense of I can't just sit around and not do anything now that I know what's going on. And I like how the whole team goes. But I like the wedge that now is being drawn. Now, at this point, Ishida and Uryu and Ichigo don't know that, like, Ichigo suspects that there's a Quincy's, but nobody knows that the Quincy's are the ones doing this. But the fact that Uryu can't go help those hollows because he's a Quincy, I like that division that's being caused now, but I like how they've grown in their relationships where they understand why. So I'm kind of interested to see how that plays out in the future and how that develops. Now, do you ever get tired of Urahara just showing up out of nowhere?
No.
Let me ask you this: was that you? Is that, if you were to be one character in Bleach, are you Mr. Urahara?
I'm that person in general, so.
I don't know. I find that hilarious.
Urahara is my favorite character in Bleach. Are you that surprised?
I am not. I am not. I'm actually not surprised that he's your favorite character. I am not surprised at all. I like that he shows up and they all get together to go to Hueco Mundo to find out what's going on. But of course, all this is happening also in Soul Society, where I've never know how to say his name, so I'm not even gonna try. But the top researcher captain, the one that always looks like a weird cosplay in a Geiger conference.
That guy who is kind of like a sociopath.
Kind of. I don't think it's a kind of. Especially when we find out what he did in episode 3, but we're gonna get there in a minute.
Not to mention what he has done to his assistants.
Yes.
For the sake. Yeah.
Yes.
No comment.
Live experimentation. Oh, Kevorkian.
Majure Kurotsuchi.
Okay.
That's the name.
I still hate him, but he reveals. I mean, I don't have to like him, do I?
No, I'm not saying that you have to like him. I'm just saying that I agree with you, and he's creepy as all hell.
Yes, a lot of hell. So he gives the report to all the captains, and he reveals that the villains are the Quincy's. And the head captain says that they have to get ready for war. But what I find interesting is the leader of the Waldenreich says that he's doing this for peace. So the first flag of megalomaniac evildoer is there. He's doing all this killing for peace. So all hail Ultron. But the whole thing about using everything that he's done is to work as a foundation stone. So what the Arrancar did, or Ebern did in that fight against Ichigo, it was literally all about keeping Ichigo entertained, right? So that he didn't know what was happening in the Soul Society. And then, at least that's the way it's kind of like explained, right? And then Luda.
I mean, Ichigo is kind of a beast.
Yes.
And
he's a special threat.
Yeah.
He's a special threat. Now, it kind of, I do find interesting that they go out of their way to make sure to let them know, to let Ichigo know that the leader of the Waldenreich categorizes him as a special threat. So apparently they're talking about a direct connection between him and Ichigo, which I'm going to say this because I know enough of Bleach and I've seen enough videos, and we can talk about this without it being a spoiler, because it's not a spoiler because it's in the opening, damn it. But the leader of the Waldenreich looks very similar to Old Man Sangetsu.
Mm-hmm.
Which is the spirit inside the... What do they call the swords? I forgot.
Ichigo's sword, yeah?
No, yeah, but what do they call the swords? The swords have a name. The weapons in Bleach. This is one of those important things. Damn it. Bleach. They have a name.
Sanpak 2?
There you go. Sanpakto.
Sanpak 2. Yeah.
Sanpakto, yes. He's the spirit inside of Ichigo Sanpakto. Old man Sangetsu. But, I don't know. There's got to be something there. It's too obvious. It's too interesting. Interestingly enough, also, did you notice that the leader of the Waldenreich's cape looks the same as Ichigo's Bankai cape?
Yup.
Yeah. We're paying attention, guys. We're paying attention. Are you paying attention, damn it?
I mean, here's the problem for me, someone that has read the manga, and you have not, so it's just about... How should I
Do
put it
not
straight?
say no comment because I'm not going to do anything. So,
Okay.
but the Quincy's are the enemy. We don't know why, but we found out that there's this captain called a Stern Ritter. I think he's called Stern Ritter J, which again, what does that mean? Is that like a German term? You speak German. What's a Stern Ritter? What does that mean?
I don't speak German fluent, but I can tell you right now that, well, a lot of their terms and all that, yes, it's German. I don't know the origins of it.
Okay, so look. I found it. You ready?
Yeah.
So Stern Ritter means star knights, as in Knights of the Stars. Oh. So that is why. So there are okay. So according to the wiki, which I'm not going to go into it, but they're called Star Knights. Let's leave it at that. So they're a specific order in the Waldenreich, which again, I don't know, guys. The way they were, so when Ichigo and the friends get to Huecomundo to try and save Huecomundo from the Waldenreich, the first thing you see is that they're literally enslaving people a la conservation camp kind of take. Like, there's no way that you're not meant to think that.
Again,
yeah.
With all the Germans speak with
Yeah.
the manners of the general, and them lining them up like Jews in a camp, so to speak. I mean, yes, this is so Third Reich.
How do you feel? Because you probably have a different relationship than I do, being that you live in Europe, right? Because in the States, we were affected by the war, but I know that we were never, I mean, first of all, I wasn't alive. We weren't alive when that was happening, right? But I know that I would assume that the way people in Europe view the Second World War is very different the way the States look at it.
Yeah.
So reading this, knowing that you read the book, and the fact that Tite Kubo chose this type of villain as the final enemy, how do you feel or think about that?
I actually think it makes sense, considering the themes and relation. I would say to some extent the themes and relationships within Bleach. Yes, we don't know that much of the Bleach Quincy society prior to it, but their way of handling hollows in comparison is very well. It has been very more direct, if I can put it like that.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that in episode 3 because I like how they're finding good pace moments for exposition, as opposed to just doing a super long type of exposition. Does that make sense? I think they're being very smart in the way they're exposing the history and the realities, as opposed to having a whole episode of Ishida finding out. Which I think we can jump to the third episode, right? Because
Yeah.
because what the end of the second episode really literally like leaks into the third episode. When we get the explanation about the birth or the conflict between the Soul Society, and Quincy's, I find it interesting that Soul Society's whole job and objective is to maintain balance so that there's coexistence, right? Their
Yeah.
goal is to maintain balance so that the world of the living and the world of the Soul Society can live in harmony. When they defeat hollows, they return them into the cycle of life so they can return to the Soul Society as opposed to being destroyed. But when Quincy's, which by the way, Quincy's are human, which is the weirdest thing also, or a type of humanoid or whatever. I don't know. I don't know enough about it. But when Quincy's destroy hollows, they destroy hollows. So that soul is eliminated from existence. But apparently, eliminating souls from existence destroys the balance that keep the world of living and the soul society alive and separate. So if the Quincy's destroy every single hollow, everybody dies except them, which is kind of crazy. So it's like, again, it's this. They're using all the different angles of that Third Reich mentality, of that Superman mentality, right? Of they are the superior ones. They are the only ones that can get peace. They're the ultimate solution, right? That's pretty much the vision of this Waldenreich. And I find it to be very interesting conversation. And I think it's being used very deliberately. Because the one thing that I like about Bleach and Ichigo's character in particular is that Ichigo has become, throughout the show of Bleach, he's become a bridge between all the different aspects and societies of the supernatural.
Yeah.
Because he's not only from the land of the living, he has a hollow portion, so he feels for the populace of Hueco so he has a connection there, and he forms a bridge with them. He feels for those that have the ability to have hollow abilities, so he becomes friends with the Visored, which were despised and thrown away and not allowed in the Soul Society until all that conflict resolves with the Battle of Aizen and all that stuff, and one of them is now a captain in the Soul Society, right? So like and then now you have these people that don't believe that coexistence is necessary or should be, because even when they present themselves at the end of this episode, which again, March of the Star Cross is very like, if there was ever a Third Reich named episode, it's definitely this episode. Like, yeah, like it's like in your face. And at the end of this episode, when they arrive, when the March of the Star Cross occurs, and it's called March of the Star Cross because the Stern Ritters are the Star Knights, which is a special section of the Waldenreich, whose task is to purge, which, in other words, kill all the Soul Reapers.
Yeah.
So this is their march to destroy all the Reapers, which is like, holy crap. Oh, and by the way, when the hell did Bleach become so bloody?
It has always been that.
No, no, no. But what I mean is like, it's. Well, here's the thing. If you remember with me, it has never been this bloody. And what I mean by that is remember, because when Bleach originally came out, it came out on TV. So there wasn't really a lot of blood. It was pretty censored. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, there was blood, but there wasn't like what we're seeing now, which is Attack on Titan level blood and murder. You see what I'm saying?
Maybe you have seen the censored one then, because I have. There is one in. They have. It has been the ones I've seen. Has not. It's like the manga has not been censored, and
Okay. It might be that because when I saw the leader of the Waldenreich blow two guys' heads off, and blood is just gushing out on the ground, I was like, "Holy crap!" And then at the end of the episode, when the March of the Star Cross happens and the Stern Ritters arrive, and you have this one particular Stern Ritter that's just blowing up heads, and there's blood everywhere, I'm like, this is
also,
not my little boy's Bleach. Like,
and well, the manga is. I mean, it's not berserker level brutal, but it is brutal.
but can you understand what I'm saying? Like, this feels a lot more brutal than what I remember. And I'm not knocking it for it. I'm here for it. I like that the violence is justified because of what the story they're telling. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like gratuitous, but I do find it very surprising though. I don't know why, but I found it very surprising. But I like this conflict of ideology. Like, I like how the battle between the Soul Society and the Quincy's makes sense because the Soul Society decided to destroy all the Quincy's because the Quincy's didn't want to coexist.
Just a quick side note.
Yeah.
I just double checked it, and it came to the part that Taitakubo even came out prior to the release and said that it won't be censored, and the time slot is midnight. So
Nice.
in
Nice.
Japan, that is.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. That is actually pretty awesome. I didn't know that. That's actually a very, very, very good observation, Isaac. Thank you for showing that. But I love the violence that's on it. I love the action. I like that the main debacle or debate makes sense because the Soul Society explains the problem to the Quincy's. The Quincy's don't want to listen, so the Soul Society, because they have to protect their existence, and Soul Society is also kind of protecting the world of the living as well. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to protect everything, so they make the hard call to destroy the Quincy's. But apparently, they don't destroy their leader. Apparently, which we're going to find out in a little bit. But now the Quincy's come back and they're going to destroy everything because they believe that's the only way there can be peace because they're crazy. And they're Nazis. But it's horrible. It's horrible. But I don't know.
I mean, it's kind of obvious that they are inspired. Yes. I know that we have. It's probably beaten to dead horse, although not as beaten to dead horse as me pointing out that Chainsaw Man is horny, but I digress.
So we've beaten the horse. The horse is dead. Now we're kicking the horse's hollow. That's how much we've kicked the horse. Was that a bad joke? Did I cross the line?
You're asking me if you cross the line for a joke. I'm not the one that. I'm not allowed to even say yes or no on that regard.
So, March of the Nazis. So, I like the exposition. I think the direction on these episodes have been great. Not only with that first shot of the reflection in episode 2, right? I want you to go back to it and I want you to see it and just let me know what you think because I think it's just dramatic and powerful and just perfect. Like the direction on it's great. But also, I like the way they're using exposition. Like for example, in mangas, a lot of times what happens is that not every character learns about a truth at the same time. But I like that they actually made it so Ishida is finding out at the same moment. He's finding out the history of the Quincy's at the same moment as that Soul Reaper lieutenant is telling it to the two new characters that we met. You understand what I'm saying? Like, I like that type of symmetry. I like that mirroring. And I also like because I feel that it's kind of like their way of respecting me
Yeah.
as a viewer. Like, they're respecting my time.
They just don't make a. Oh, did you remember that 20 seconds later kind of deal? Oh no, it's not the 20 seconds, but you get what I mean.
Yeah. It's like, buddy, you've told me like 5 times already. See, the one show that can get away with it is Chainsaw Man, because we all want to touch boobs. So, but Bleach. I mean, it's a live stream.
It's a good thing that Mike's in here because he would have a massive headache right now.
Yes. Now,
I love you, Mike, but it's obvious who keep us two in check. That's for certain.
yes. Now, of course, the ending of the episode, the exposition between what's going on with the Soul Society and the Quincy's, that's not the main course of this episode. The main course of this episode is that Ichigo is fighting a Stern Ritter. Codename J. His name is Opie, apparently, something like that. And apparently he knows the Super Saiyan Blue form. Apparently, because personally I didn't know. Apparently, there's this ability that Quincy's had that they can go Super Saiyan. I didn't know that was a thing, similar to a Bankai. But apparently he has a bigger one, so it makes it even more of an Ubermensch thing because now he's a fanatic with wings, and like a sword, and he's meant to look like an angel. But again, this battle is great. I like the dialogue, the to and fro. I love how great, determined, and specific Ichigo's attacks are. And I do find it interesting that he seems to be struggling to fight this guy, but I like that he's kind of keeping Bankai in his back pocket. You know what I mean? So
I know what you mean.
So you know what I mean? Because sometimes like you have a battle and they go Super Saiyan. Okay, so where are we gonna go from here? If he's already Super Saiyan, what else am I gonna do? But I like that hasn't happened yet. Now, what do you think about this ability that the Quincy's have? I don't know if it's gonna be every single Quincy, but at least I like how Ichigo, again, a great way of directing exposition. Ichigo is learning about the new abilities that Quincy's have while finding the Stern Ritter. So he's probably going to be the one to inform all the other guys in Soul Society what that ability looks like. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So I like that type of exposition and stuff like that. What are your thoughts about this guy? This guy is freaking fanatic, nuts, and crazy. And apparently they're all like this.
Well, not. We have beaten so many dead horses already, but
Yeah, we're at Hollows.
Yeah, and he certainly, with how he easily take everyone down. It's easy. He Taitakuba effectively shows how powerful the higher ups really is.
Yeah, he doesn't waste time either. So I applaud that. Actually, I applaud that a lot. The fact that we're able to see right away that these guys are a threat. They're not just a random villain or I mean, I do find it interesting that again we're kind of like it's like another. I do find it interesting that it's another Eisen situation, kind of, because you have like one big bad, and like
Um,
he has a bunch of lieutenants, like you know.
sure, but Eisen is much more is a class on its own.
No, no, and that's fine. What I'm saying is the same setup. Is what I'm saying, like the same format, but they're telling a different story altogether as well, though. You know, like Eisen, and again, Eisen was a villain for almost what the first, I don't know, like 250 episodes or more, kind of. Like he was like the big bad for a
He's
while.
he was the overarching bad guy for quite some time.
Yes, he was. Now I like the design, but I'm very scared of that ability that these. I don't know if every Stern Ritter will have this ability, but I'm really concerned about that ability that that Ogi has, that he's able to manipulate spiritual energy and he's able to steal it. Like the way he was literally stealing energy from Sato and breaking Otohima's shield, that worries me a lot. Like people are gonna get hurt. So I don't know, man. I kind of want to see. I hope it doesn't become like a My Hero Academia situation where we spend 5 episodes with Ishigo fighting this guy, and we kind of miss out with the Soul Society. I hope we keep getting like the hybrid storyline, right? Where we have the Soul Society storyline and the Ishigo going side by side, so we get a little bit of them every episode. Or do you prefer getting isolated episodes of each battlefield?
It all depends on the execution. I know that is a lazy answer, but it all depends on execution from in my book.
I think the reason I want the parallel approach is because they've actually done a great job so far of giving us that parallel stories where we see a little bit where we see the same story develop in two different areas simultaneously, and it feels and the pacing has been very good. I feel they should keep I hope they keep doing it that way because they're actually doing it right. Because you know how people try to tell two stories at the same time and it just doesn't work? Like Batman v
Yeah, I
Superman
know.
tried it like Batman v Superman tried to tell like 5 different stories and it couldn't get one of them right. I,
It's not horrible, that movie, but yeah, it
well,
crammed way too many
right. And I
stories.
and I am gonna say that the Ultimate Edition specifically
It's so much better.
is so much better, and I like it the much better because it justifies Lois Lane's storyline. That's why
Yeah.
I like it more than anything. But yeah, like Bleach is doing the right thing. They're showing multiple stories side by side. They all connect to each other. They're all balanced out, and they're both interesting. And I like that they're saving a lot of the classic Soul Society characters for further along in the series because we haven't seen Renji. Like we just saw Renji for the first time in this episode. We haven't heard him. We just saw Renji for the first time. We saw Rukia for the first time. We saw what's the name of the lieutenant for the ice guy?
Oh, my memory
That one, the
slips.
one that makes you say that every time you see her. Yes, that one.
Ha ha ha.
Hey, admit it. That was perfect.
I can give you that one.
But yeah, like a lot of these classic characters, we've seen them for the first time now. So I like how the opening teases them going into battles and we following them. So I'm really excited to see what's going to happen. I think we have what? We have another 9 episodes in this core? Because I think it's just going to be 12, right?
I have no idea how long this course is gonna be,
I think
but
it
I
was
assume it's.
I
But
think it
I
was.
assume it is.
Let me see. Let's do the research because I think that's important. I think they were talking about doing four um 12 episode course. I think that's what it was. Let me see. Blah, blah, blah. Okay, so it says Bleach Thousand Year Blood War will release over 4 cores,
Yeah,
but
that I
they're
know.
okay, but it's 52 episodes. So we don't know how many episodes per core. Got it. That's fair. But still, 4 cores means that we might get 12, we might get 13, we might get 14. I mean, how much is 52 divided by 5? Let's see. Brandon is so lazy, he uses a calculator.
Hey,
Well, that's 13 episodes a core, so it's actually pretty perfect, kind of. Or you can probably do it in a way where you got like 16 on one, 14 on the other. I'm pretty confident that the last core is probably going to be the shortest one. But
probably.
yeah, that just makes the most sense. Um, but yeah, man, I'm scared of this guy. The way that he was able to absorb Reiki from everything, even that monster that. Okay, can we talk about the fact how the 3 bestias, which by the way, swimsuit models, can we talk about Orihime? Is she standing out a lot more now than in.
What do you mean?
I just hope Denji doesn't see her. So, um, I'm sorry. I don't know what's wrong with me today, but
Mike doesn't keep us two in check. That's why.
Yes, and boobs. So it's a theme of the episode. It's a theme of the episode, guys. For some reason.
Did you see one of the elite soldiers?
Well, the one that they stole from Hueco Mundo. Is that what you mean?
And I was
You're talking about the Sternritters? No.
Yeah.
Wow, you're paying.
I'm talking about no. I was talking about elite soldier. One of the elite soldiers that created the monster.
Yeah. Yes. One of the 3 bestias.
Yes.
By the way, I always appreciated that all the Aran cards and stuff like that are all in Spanish. I found that so interesting. Espadas, gargantas, hueco mundo, Aizen-sama. But yeah, I what was I talking about? No, that was wrong. Not boobs. But no, I find it interesting the power that guy has to absorb the Reiki from everybody, but then combining it into his body. He's going to be a very interesting match. I wonder if he's going to be able to suck power from Ichigo, because he hasn't done anything of that kind yet. He's just sucking everything around him. But I don't know. It's an interesting battle. The action's still great. Everything feels like Bleach. I really enjoyed this episode, and I love the cliffhanger of this one. And I like how they do a lot of, like Bleach always does, and great animes always do. I love how they do a lot of visual storytelling, because you know for a fact that you're meant to understand that the last Sternritter that you see that says that we're here to purge you all, I got a feeling he's the strongest of them. So I like that kind of storytelling where they show they show them in order, like probably the different type of battles that we're gonna see, but they also kind of show you in order of strength. And of course, it was all the different Sternritters that we saw in the opening. So at some point, we got to analyze the opening to see who we see fighting with each Sternritter, because that's probably going to be the fight that we're going to see later on. So don't you love openings and how they prepare you for what's coming with a very nice song?
I sure do.
Yeah. Now, the last thing I want to talk about, Bleach. Do you have anything else on these 2 episodes that you want to talk about that you felt excited?
Outside of I love continuously loving the show, no.
Such a great show. What a great comeback. Can we talk about, again, Viz Media is firing on all freaking cylinders. The creativity, the attention to detail. Have you noticed how special and interesting the previews are?
No, I don't watch the previews, so I'm not.
Well, that's the thing. They don't do previews.
Okay.
So what they do is right after the credits, well, right before the credits actually. Is it right before? No, I think it's right after the credits, I think. They present like a haiku, which is like a piece of poetry. So they show a manga panel section and they show like poetry haiku in a white sheet. And then they show in big bold letters the number of the episode.
I haven't seen that one yet because
It's and they do it after every single episode, and I find it so brilliant, so unique, so artistic. Like we were talking before, like when we first talked about Bleach, I mentioned a lot how one of the things that you have to that's undeniable about Bleach is that Bleach is all style. Like style was a very important thing for that show, to that show, in terms of the show's identity, especially in the music and the build and stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like style is a big thing, especially when you see the Soul Society lieutenants and captains. Like they're very stylized and very particular. The way they look, the way they move, the way they act. You know what I mean?
for certain.
Especially when you see them all dressed the same, but they all have very distinct qualities, right? But this show has all that and more, and I'm just happy to have Bleach back. So I'm excited and can't wait to cover it again. Isaac, anything else you want to add?
Bring more Bleach, baby.
Detergent. So, guys, that is the show. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Amateur Otaku Podcast live stream. We love spending time with you guys every single Sunday, talking about anime that we love, that you love, that we all enjoying every Sunday night. Thank you for joining us for a conversation on Bleach. Don't worry if you missed this episode or if you missed our last coverage of Bleach. Don't worry, you can find our playlist linked to the description, so you can check out our episodes on Bleach. The first time we covered episode 1, this one we'll cover episode 2 and 3, and we will return in 2 weeks to cover episodes 4 and 5 of Bleach: The 1000-Year Blood War. We have a lot of thoughts. We're enjoying the show so much. Hopefully you are enjoying it as well. If you're enjoying Bleach as much as we are, make sure you let us know in the comment section below, or let us know on Twitter. You can find the podcast at Amateur Otaku Pod on Twitter. And if you love what we do here at the Amateur Otaku Podcast, make sure you click on that like button, subscribe, and click on the bell icon so you don't miss any episodes or any uploads on our YouTube channel. We upload every single week, tons of content for you guys to enjoy. And if you want to listen to us on the go, make sure you check our Spotify. On Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you can find the Amateur Otaku Podcast. You can find it there and enjoy our coverage there. Isaac, if people were trying to find a mad doctor like yourself, where can they find you on the interwebs?
Twitter, Emblemaniac, written work, Bobam Entertainment.
And I don't know German. And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52. No. And you can find boobs. And you can find me at the Scarlet Fan 52 on Twitter. And we will see you next time, guys. Have it awesome and keep watching anime. Peace.
Peace.